Movie mistakes you never noticed until now. Our favorite films are not without faults. There are numerous ways in which our favorite films can contain errors, such as an extra in the incorrect scene or a continuity error. Keep watching to see the amusing errors made by some films. Independence Day. The Empire State Building's central picture was impossible to achieve. Due to its location on a street intersection, the building cannot be depicted as precisely as in the final film. Halloween. Even though the film is set in a made-up community in Illinois, there are sequences with palm trees in the backdrop. Which northern municipality can support palm trees? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Dr. Jones's haste to save his father's manuscript from a fire is not particularly opportune. The book burnings occurred in 1933, while the film takes place 5 years later. Raiders of the Lost Ark. As the audience witnesses Indy standing atop the treasure, he's lit by sunlight. Why didn't he just enter through the ceiling's hole? The Goonies. The 1973 Topps baseball card in the corpse's pocketbook is one of the film's most indelible moments, but the body's been there since 1930. The Hurt Locker. A soldier mentioning uploading a video to YouTube in 2004, which didn't exist until 2005, makes no logic. The Fast Seven. Ronda Rousey, the world's most dangerous woman? Michelle Rodriguez faces Rousey. It's not a combat scenario since both females wear dresses. Rodriguez praised Rousey's film. These scenarios don't need fancy gowns and heels. Malcolm X. Malcolm calls for 911 too early during the fire bombings on his house. 911 didn't exist until 1968, 3 years after Malcolm X's death. The Patriot. Though the picture spans 5 years, the numerous youngsters never age. They should appear different. The Aviator. Howard Hughes ordering 10 chocolate chip cookies is crazy. The chocolate chip cookie was invented in 1930, 2 years after the film. Django Unchained. Sunglasses don't fit Django's slick cinematic appearance. Sunglasses were only used medically until 1929. Braveheart. William Wallace is frequently depicted wearing a kilt, but the film is set in 1300. Kilts didn't appear until the 16th century. Oops. Titanic. Jack mentions fishing on Lake Wissota with his father, but the lake was dammed almost 5 years after the collapse of the renowned cruise ship. Gladiator. Even though Russell Crowe's character is referred to as the Spaniard, the term didn't exist until the 14th century. Gladiator takes place in 180. Back to the Future. The DeLorean's license plate reads "out of time," which is one character longer than what's permitted on California license plates. Good job! Forrest Gump. Apple congratulates Forrest Gump on his 1975 investment in a letter dated 1975. Before 1981, Apple wasn't publicly traded. Evidently, this does not pass muster. Panic Room. Jodie Foster shelters beneath the flames as the perpetrators deluge the room with propane. But propane is heavier than air. In all likelihood, they would be incinerated by the conflagration. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. The characters travel to Singapore, but Singapore didn't exist until 1819, rendering this film even more fictitious. Saving Private Ryan. Captain Miller leans against a motorcycle after sustaining severe injuries, but that identical model wasn't manufactured until 1963, 20 years after the film's setting. Public Enemies. Did anyone else find it odd that Pretty Boy Floyd and Babyface Nelson died before John Dillinger in the film, despite the fact that they outlived him in reality? The Green Mile. In a tragic scenario, John Coffey is executed by electrocution. The electric chair wasn't invented until 1940, 5 years after the film's setting. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The time zone of the telescope Azim shows him is significantly off. The film takes place in 1194, Well, the telescope didn't exist until the 17th century. Sherlock Holmes. The sewer pursuit scene begins at Parliament and concludes on the Tower Bridge, but these two locations are separated by several miles. Pirates of the Caribbean. In Australia, Granny Smith apples were not popularized until 1868. Captain Barbarossa, however, consumes a Granny Smith apple. Weird. The Sound of Music. The Von Trapp family captured the affections of many as they escaped Austria by crossing the Alps. But Salzburg doesn't border Switzerland. It abuts Germany. Top Gun. In one scene, the pilots wave to each other as one aircraft flies over the other. However, if the planes were that close, their rear wings would collide, and they'd both collapse. Teen Wolf. Before the camera panned away during a climactic Teen Wolf moment, viewers observed an extra adjusting their fly. Even Family Guy referred to it in an episode. The Passion of the Christ. Jesus is portrayed by the Caucasian actor Jim Caviezel, but Jesus would have been Middle Eastern, not white historically.